Hi, everyone. We're letting the last few people in, and then we're going to get started. Just a reminder, we are recording this, so I do ask that you turn all of your mics off. If you want to show us your face, that's totally cool, but we will be recording this to have it available after we post it. So I want to welcome Keira. She's our Associate Dean in the Office of RFYP, and she's going to be helping us with all of your questions regarding to the dashboard.
Thanks, Kelly. Welcome. We're very excited to meet you all tonight. I know some of you probably attended last week. Kelly hosted as well another session, but we thought it would be pretty important to have a session tonight after the opening day of the dashboard and give you some more sort of details on that. And I see a number of you have already submitted questions, so we're going to get to that in just a few minutes. I just wanted to, I've learned over time, I've been working with the dashboard since, believe it or not, 2006. So a long time. And I want to give you a little bit of background just to why we do it. Before I do that, hi, Allison. Before I do that, Allison's another colleague in our office who works with the dashboard and with orientation. I want to just sort of give you a little bit of info about me. I graduated from Gettysburg College in 1995, so I'm celebrating my 25th reunion this summer. And I've been working at the college since 2004. And I've been working with orientation since 2004 at Gettysburg. So have a lot of different experiences with the evolution over time and excited to see what we can bring to you all this year. We always have this dashboard, and it's a way for us to get to know you. It's a way for us to understand you. It's a way for us to understand your preferences about things, things that are really important, like your personal information and emergency contact information. And so you should have gotten information about credentialing, and hopefully some of you have already started the dashboard. Some of you may have not started it yet. We try to give as much information up front as we can. So sometimes the email may feel a little bit longer, and it's sometimes like, oh, did I read through the whole thing? Did I get all the pieces of information? So we're hoping that these sessions, tonight is one, and then next week we're offering one, can help answer questions that people have. The other thing that we are doing is that we're going to be holding office hours on Zoom throughout the time of the dashboard. And so during the weeks that it's open, we will announce each week what days and hours we're going to be available. And you can just drop in. You don't have to register or anything like that. And you'll be able to get to that link through the dashboard, because then you'll be in a more secure setting. We want to talk to people that are coming to Gettysburg in the class of 2024, not just anyone on the world finding out about the dashboard. So that's why we've decided to place it once you log into the dashboard, the links. It's the rationale behind having an onboarding online program like this is to give the college lots of information ahead of time so that we can prepare for you. So there's little things on it that are very quick to answer or to read, and then there's some things that take longer, right? A placement test or filling out information about your health history. Those kinds of things take a little bit more time, but we want to give you that time to tell us about you. So that's really what it's for. And there's not a lot more to it. It's important to us because we can understand your needs, and also we can work with you personally when there's something that might be specific that you have questions about that we learn from you through the dashboard, or certainly through emails or calls. But I really want to spend the time today or this evening answering questions and hopefully having good conversation. So I think we'll start with a list that people submitted. Kelly compiled a list for me. And so we'll start with those questions. And then if you have other questions that you'd like to ask, feel free. And between Kelly, Allison, and myself, we will do our best to give you the accurate information.
Thanks, Keira. So if you have a question that we don't cover with the ones that you all asked during your registration, feel free to chat me. I'll be your host. I'm getting some questions now. Thank you so much. I think some of them might be more I don't want to say more better, but I know that's not right. It's going to be well suited for an email response. So if you don't get an answer during this session, look out for an email from me, Keira, Allison, or someone else from our office with a more individualized answer. So our first question is, what should a student do if they can't get a physical because of the COVID-19 situation?
That's a great question. Really anything that you have questions about related specifically around physicals, immunization records, anything about healthcare provider information. If it's a specific question, I'm going to tell you that you should contact our health services department. They're working all summer, and you can certainly contact them directly. They are also very aware of what's going on, obviously, and so they're aware that that might not happen on time. So it's getting the communication. Once you get into the dashboard, there'll be a place that you can actually upload a physical form and your immunization record. And if you don't have those, the health services folks will know that. So they'll be able to communicate with you about that. One thing I do know is that if you've had a physical within the last year's time, that will be acceptable for the college this year. If you're an athlete, that might be different. And so that will be something that you would want to check in with the health department about, the health services department. But no, we're very aware that this might be hard for you to get a hold of right now.
Thanks, Keira. So in addition to that question, we got to add on to that question.
Yep.
So this student filled out her mental health history form, but she didn't receive a check mark. Does this mean she did something wrong?
Okay, so that is a fabulous question. So there's a couple of items on the dashboard that are not automatic. You've probably discovered that there are some items that as soon as you click submit and you go back to the main page, you have a green check. The health history, the mental health history, those may take a 24-hour check just because the system that it goes into has to verify it. And so it will give you a check. I would check back in 24 hours. I don't want to go into the weeds too much of it, but the nice thing about our system is that it goes to individual spaces on campus that people need accurate information, and medical information is secure and private and confidential. So it goes to a space that we do not have access to. And so it does take a little longer for that to get verified. So it's a 24-hour check.
Great, thanks. So the next question is housing related. So how do they sign up for housing? How do they register? And is there a roommate survey on the dashboard?
So that will be one of the items in the dashboard that you'll see is housing. You'll answer a variety of questions. And so if you all recall when you were going through the process of admissions and looking at Gettysburg, we talk a lot about first year seminars. And the way that we house students at the college here is by seminar. And so you may or may not live with someone in your seminar, but you will have certainly in your building people from your seminar in the hall that you live in. And so we do not ask an extensive roommate question survey. We focus on the seminar placement, and we focus on other specific accommodations that students might have around medical needs or disability accommodations. We focus on gender neutral requests, and we focus on commitment to substance-free living. And so once we go through those items that are in the dashboard, you'll answer those questions. Having a specific survey for, a 50 questionnaire checklist, because our process is focused on those items, we don't necessarily ask the roommates survey question like some of your friends at other institutions, but we have a pretty extensive process once students get to campus to talk with their roommate, with their RA, make a plan for how you want to live together. Sometimes when you answer questions, in May, 3 months from now, that might be a different experience. And so we want to make sure that people have the opportunity to talk about living together when they meet each other and have situations that they may have to figure out how to live together.
Thanks, Keira. So another question that we have is, does Gettysburg accept credits from other colleges? And will high school credits count to the writing requirements?
So I'm going to give you a basic answer, and then if you have specific questions, I'm going to suggest that you contact our registrar's office, and that email is very easy. Kelly, maybe you can type it in the chat, just registrar@gettysburg.edu. But the simple answer is that yes, we're going to ask questions on the dashboard about your writing experience in high school and whether you've taken different kinds of IB, or if you have different exams, or if you have a different score, AP or writing requirement in the SAT. And so those would be things that we do not go through the process, but you would turn it in through the dashboard, and then it would be assessed at that point. Other kinds of courses, I'm going to tell you right now that it's definitely reviewed, but I don't know all the ins and outs of each particular area of study. And so that would be something talking with, there's going to be a point in the summer to meet with a summer advisor, and that would be a good question to talk with the summer advisor about.
Great, thanks. We'll also have a Zoom session with some of those individuals from academic advising, so that'll be helpful to ask those more particular questions that they'll know better than we.
Yep.
So another question that we received are, what are the due dates for anything that we should know?
Well, let me give you a couple of due dates, and then I'm going to see if that answers enough question. The other thing is that on the website, on the orientation site, there's a list of things related to the schedule in the summer. So the first due date is that you should be aware of is that on the 29th of May, which is next Friday, the selection of your preferences for the seminars are due within the dashboard. So a lot of you filled those out in your student portal, and in the dashboard, you're just confirming your choices, or maybe you're changing them and confirming them. But the 29th is the deadline for that within the dashboard. So make sure that you do that. The dashboard itself is due on June 9th. That gives, we think, 3 weeks. We've learned that's about the right amount of time for people. And so the 9th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, that's the deadline. And then there's a week where it'll be a little bit of downtime for computer work for us, for you. You'll be having the opportunity to talk with your summer advisor, sort of a consult on what you want to take for the fall. And then the next time that you'll be entering information is for your course selection for the fall, and that will start on June 17th. And the deadline for that will be in July, and I have to look at the calendar to make sure I pick the right day. I'm going to just verify it. I'm pretty sure it's the 13th, but I'm just going to double check. Sorry, it's the 15th. It's the Wednesday, July 15th. So. And that all is in the information on the website, and it's also, if you go back and look at like the tips of the dashboard, it gives the deadline and when you would start course registration. Does that help, folks? Thanks, Aaliyah. And Vaisel, sorry if I didn't say that right. And yes, okay,
Thanks,
I got
Keira.
all of them.
Oh, bunch of thumbs up.
Great.
So next question that I got, which would be helpful for a bunch of you, is we have a student who's a native speaker, and he asked if being a native speaker exempts you from language studies. And if he's a native speaker, can he still study a different foreign language in the future?
Yes to the latter, and I'm looking at Allison if she can help with me with that, because there's a variety of if this then that in the dashboard.
So if you are a native speaker, there's a place where you can indicate that on the dashboard, and then there's a second place where you indicate if you want to request an exemption for a language requirement. So if you request an exemption, that means it goes to our registrar's office and they look at your records and determine whether or not you can be exempt from the language requirement. So if you're a native speaker and you want to take a language, just make sure to indicate you're a native speaker, but don't request that exemption. If you request the exemption, the placement test won't show up for you if you need a placement test. So just make sure that you don't request the exemption, and then you should be able to take any placement test of languages you have taken before and sign up for language classes once class registration starts.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Allison. And then I had a follow-up question to that one. So how soon will they learn their placement once they take the language placement exams?
So yeah, for some of them, for like Spanish, French, and a couple of others, once you take the placement test, the place on the dashboard where it originally said foreign language survey, it'll say placement test results, and you can go into there and you automatically see your placement test results. For others, so those are the ones that are kind of automatically graded. There are some that faculty, not many, but some that faculty have to go through and grade, and so that just takes a little bit longer, but they all should eventually be available in the dashboard.
Yeah.
And if you like already took your placement test and you don't see it, let us know and we can definitely look into that.
Thank you.
Thanks, Allison. So here's an easy one. I think I can answer this one. So is the dashboard easy to use by your phone, or should you do it on your computer? We definitely recommend that you do it on your computer, as some of the different interfaces that you will be using are not friendly to your mobile device. So just so everything is all great when you're doing it, please use your computer. We recommend, I believe it's Chrome and Firefox when you're doing it, just to avoid any issues. Unfortunately, our phones are fantastic for almost everything except for the dashboard.
And it is Chrome and Firefox.
All right, so yeah, so Chrome and Firefox is the best bet. So I got a really good question about first-year seminars. So how will we know if a particular first-year seminar fulfills the writing requirement?
So one of the items, I'm gonna pull something up on the web to try to show you rather than explain it. And I'm pretty sure I'm gonna find it pretty quickly here. Very briefly, it will say in a course registration guide that you will have access to. So there's going to be a, when you're planning your courses and you're looking to create your fall schedule, you'll have an opportunity to, the Academic Advising Office has put together a booklet that's a booklet, but it's online, that gives you some guidance around what different courses fulfill different requirements. And so actually maybe Allison or Kelly, when you can maybe hunt for it as well so that I can talk. I'm not, but it's a way for you to look and see what all kinds of courses fulfill different requirements for the college. Certainly you'll have an opportunity to talk with your summer, advising consultant on that, which is summer faculty advisor. And it should indicate that in the registration guide. Does that, I know that's not a specific, and we'll look for the screen on the web so that you can see that and we can show it to you.
I'm looking for the course catalog now, so once I find it, I will put it in the group chat to all of you.
Great. Thanks, Kelly.
All right, so the next question we received: when will the students know about their faculty advisor?
That's a good related question. So I've referenced a few times, and it's in the summer schedule, that you'll be connected to a summer advisor, and that's a faculty member who works to do sort of more general advising, answering questions about the courses that you want to put together for your course schedule in the fall. And then part of the dashboard, you're filling out information about your academic interests. You're answering some questions that will help our academic advising office place you with the most appropriate faculty member for your faculty advisor come the fall semester. So the person that you have in the summer may or may not be that faculty advisor in the fall. And you'll likely find that out mid-August for the fall faculty advisor.
Great. Thanks, Keira. So another question that we received, we received several questions regarding the new chemistry placement test. So Keira, can we walk through why students should take the chemistry placement test, what the aim is having that now on the dashboard, and anything else we know about the chemistry test?
Sure. Okay, so the chemistry test, first of all, there should be a question or a slide on the dashboard that's asking you your interest and whether you want to take chemistry, right? And so if you want to take chemistry, then we are asking for a placement test. And the goal of that is to place people into the right kind of section to give people the right kind of support in terms of course meeting, different times. Some of them may meet like for different periods of time. So our courses meet, depending on how often in a week, they could meet for 50 minutes, they could meet for an hour and 15 minutes, they could meet for different amounts of time and different frequency during the week. And so part of the chemistry test is to figure out the right sections to help people get placed into with the assistance of their advisor. And if you indicate you're not pursuing chemistry, then then you don't have to take the placement test. Does that help?
I think it does.
Okay.
If anyone has any other questions about chemistry, please send them to me. That was not my subject, so I totally understand. I was a history major. So I got another question, and they're having issues with setting up their email. They said that they created their password, they have their username, but they can't log in or reset the email. Is there something that they should do to troubleshoot that?
Sorry, can you repeat that, Kelly?
Yeah, definitely. So they set up their email. They said that their password and their username have been created. So they use the ones that we sent them, but they can't log in or create their own password.
And so just curious, did you follow the direction through the setting up the dashboard and then the email? I'm not sure.
So this is a pre.
It's a pre.
Yeah,
okay. So let's try this. So this is so when you get the credentials, right? I'll walk through it and then see if this makes sense. And I would say if this answer doesn't help, then we're going to have Zoom office hours tomorrow between 12 and 3. So you can drop in, and we always have a tech person helping with us. So if there's specific needs, they can help you. And then if that doesn't help, then we can try to set up a private conversation. But in general, what should happen is when you get the credential and the temporary password, you go to access the dashboard from the orientation website and you follow all the prompts. And one of the first prompts should be to change your password to your own personal private password that we don't know. And then the next thing should be to set up your email using that new password that you have created. So I'm not sure if that's what has already happened and I'm not, and I'm saying something that you've already tried, or if it is, if that's maybe helping a part that was not fulfilled in the steps.
I would definitely recommend seek us out on the Zoom chats. They're super helpful. You can share your screen with us. We can see what's going on in real time so we can help you figure out these concerns while you're actually working on them. Are there any other questions out there regarding the dashboard, components of the dashboard, the language components, first year seminars? the health, mental health.
And before, if people want to write in questions, that's great. And if you have other questions, we can try to do that too, right? I just wanted to, Allison reminded me that when you're in the dashboard looking at your first year seminars, it should show you if it has a requirement that it meets for writing or anything else.
Awesome. So while you're thinking of some questions, I'm going to put a poll out to see just where everyone's coming from tonight. So please answer the poll. We want to see where everyone's located and just to have some fun. A lot of East Coasters. All right. So it looks like the majority of you are on the East Coast. Awesome. I'll share the results. Well, it was a good filler because we got some questions. All right. So one question that we received is, all right, we have to select 5 subjects of academic priority in the dashboard. So does that mean I have to take courses in these subjects only and I cannot take other courses? Also, is this academic preference only for my first semester or all 4 years?
That's a fabulous question. That's a great question. So I think the intention is really to just, for the academic advising, you know, one of the things that when we talked about the advisor and the partnering, you know, the pairing of the advisor with his incoming student, one of the things that helps the advising office pair students with faculty advisors are all of these questions and parts that are around your academic interests. All of the different segments of the dashboard that are related to academics helps the academic advising office think, oh, let's have this person with this faculty member because this is an interest of theirs. So that's part of that. I think, you know, the idea of coming to a liberal arts college is thinking about different things, learning about different things, trying things that you may have a minor interest in but don't know a lot about. And so the idea of asking your different areas of study doesn't lock you into anything. It's showing what you're interested in and what you're, you know, interested in pursuing. Maybe you're passionate in learning about something new. So don't, and it's certainly not, your interests may change as you're here. And this is sort of a way for the advising office to get to know you. So not only will you have your specific faculty advisor, but the academic advising office supports students in many ways around academic coaching, sometimes some maybe some academic disabilities or accommodations, different things like that. And so the more they get to know students, the better it helps them work with students. And that's just one of the components to help the pairing of faculty and also the academic advising office to get to know you a little better.
Thanks, Keira. So another question we received is, can anything you put on the dashboard now be changed later?
So you can change most everything until the deadline, right, of the dashboard. But like I said, the seminar, your seminar preferences are due by the 29th. And part of the reasoning behind that is to help, we have a team of faculty that work to make seminar placements based on your preferences. We have a great math professor who worked on that with us, and that takes a little bit of time to do that. And so that's part of the reason for it to be earlier than the rest of the dashboard. So once on the 29th, once that is done, that's done. I'm going to actually pull up some slides to remind myself of some of the other particulars, but you know, once you've submitted your health history or once you've submitted your mental health history, those are sort of in the queue and you've gotten your green check mark. That's not something that you can go back and change, but it's something that is your private information with our health services. So if there are things that you need to update or things that you want to talk with them about, that's something you would do either over the summer, after, or in person when you see them. So that's something that would be, once that's done. But basically the deadline is the deadline. So I'm looking to Allison if there are other items that I'm thinking that I'm missing, but I think those are the ones.
I agree. There are some where like the info, like the emergency contact or personal info, sometimes that information, we pull it from your application materials. So that's kind of already set in there. But again, similar to what Keira said, if you needed to change it, we could do that for you.
And the other one, obviously, once you take your placement test, that's it. So when you've done your placement test, you've done your placement test. And I would say anytime you have a question, or if something you think, oh my gosh, why did that already get submitted and it shouldn't have, or I need it to be changed, probably the easiest way to do that is to email orientation. And then we can set up a time. If we need to speak with you, we can set up a call or a video conference. And like I said, we'll have a variety of open office hours that we'll post each week so that you know when you can do a drop-in and ask questions about that.
Great, thanks. And since you mentioned placement tests, I received a question asking, will you automatically have to take a placement test once you click you're interested in taking chemistry or a foreign language?
Automatically, no. You don't have to do it right away. It will show up by each person answering the questions on the surveys. So, you're answering the general information about the chemistry or the languages. That tells the system, oh, this person needs this test. Then it populates on your dashboard, and then it's up to you when you take that. But once you start a placement test, I believe all of them, if not all of them, almost all of them are timed. So you would want to prepare to sit down and take that test when you click on it. And I believe it gives an estimated time for each one when you get into it, so you can see that.
Just, I guess, to piggyback off of that, for chemistry, it's if you indicate, right, the question is, are you planning on taking chemistry during your first semester at Gettysburg? If you indicate yes, you'll be asked to take the placement test. For languages, it's not necessarily based on your interests, it's based on what languages you've taken before. Yes. So if you've taken 4 years of Spanish in high school, the Spanish placement test is going to pop up, and you need to take that placement test even if you plan on taking French when you come here. Our languages department likes to have that data in case you do change your mind. So the language placement test that will pop up is based on what languages you've taken previously, as you indicated in the dashboard.
Good clarification.
So when you're taking these placement tests, is there a due date, or is it just due when the dashboard closes?
Due when the dashboard closes. The only thing that is due before the dashboard closes is the first year seminar preferences, and that's the 29th. So a week from tomorrow. Everything else is due the deadline of the dashboard, June 9th.
Great, thanks, Keira.
Yep.
So talking about first year seminars, a lot of segues here. When will students know which seminar they're in?
It's a good question. And so part of the idea of having this due a little bit earlier is that we can notify students of the seminar that they're in before course registration. So you'll be able to know that. And so the day for that, the goal, right? The intended notification is, can you hear all my clicking just to make sure? Right, so the intended notification would be the end of the first week of June or the beginning of the second week of June. So June starts on June 1st is on a Monday this year. And so it would either be the end of that week or the beginning of the next week.
Awesome. If you have any other questions about first year seminars, placement tests, please shoot them to me now. But we have one that changes pace a little bit. So they have a question regarding name coach. So for those who don't know, name coach is where you record how you pronounce your name. So the question was, do you have to record your full name or just your first name?
I think they would like you to probably record your full name. I mean, they'll take whatever you say into the mic, but I think the preference is your full name, just so we have that information.
And the idea, yeah, I think that's probably true, Allison. The idea behind, we just implemented this a year or two ago based on feedback from students. And, you know, if you tell us how to pronounce your name, that recording, faculty that teach you will be able to know what your name sounds like, so that when they meet you or you have class with them, they have a better sense of how to pronounce your name. And also, I know this is hard to think about, but you know, in 2024, when you walk across the stage, we want to be able, it helps our folks, you know, be able to say your name at graduation.
Definitely. So another question that we received was, what are intramural sports? Which is a great question. I'll take this one for you, Keira. So intramural sports, it's one of our fun activities that we have on campus. It's where you can gather with your friends and play basketball, softball, soccer, you name it, they have it. And it's a team sport, and you will play in leagues against your fellow students. It's organized to the sense of you organize your own team within, it's a software called IM Leagues. But it's not as organized as, say, a team sport like our basketball team or our football team, but it's more organized than a pickup game, but a little less structured than an actual game for a championship. So it's a really great way to make new friends, to play a game or a sport that you really enjoy in just a pickup, you know, once a semester kind of sense. I know they have a lot of fun. You might play against staff, the coaches, or just your fellow students, and it's a great way to burn off some steam and be active while taking classes.
And it's all within the college, so as opposed to varsity sports that would be playing other institutions' teams.
Exactly. So another question we received was, how does priority course registration, i.e. Lincoln Scholars, work with online course registration?
I'm gonna actually, I think that might be a good question for the academic advising group. And I also want to get particular clarification from our registrar. I think I'm gonna defer it to those two, and if you have specific questions that you want to ask about that, you can certainly email me, and I can connect you to different folks that make that, that do that, the placement.
Definitely. I'm going to keep that question on our list so I can send it to academic advising when we prepare for that Zoom session, just so they can keep it on their radar and know that we have some students waiting for an answer on that.
That would be great.
Yeah. Another great question. You are keeping me filled with great questions tonight, y'all. So tell us more about the RISE program. What are the regulations that you would follow if you sign up for RISE? And that's RISE, all capital. The housing website mentions that RISE program students have to maintain a healthy lifestyle within the residence halls. What does that refer to specifically? Which one of us wants to take that?
I can take it. That's okay. So RISE stands for Respecting Individual Student Expectations. And our RISE program, it kind of operates in two ways. It does operate in our first year halls. Basically, if you opt into RISE, we're going to put you with another RISE roommate. And then after your first year, we actually have a college house on campus that is the RISE house. And it's basically, we call them college houses, or similar to theme houses. And you all live together in a more like communal house. But for your first year, what it means essentially, all of our first year residence halls are alcohol free, since most first years are not of age, right? So, but RISE essentially means both students are committing to kind of substance-free living. So there's not to be any alcohol or drugs in the room. Again, that's an expectation we have for all of our first year students in general. But also, you know, it's expected that those students aren't coming back to the room after drinking or anything like that. I think it's really meant for students who don't want substances to be impacting their college experience and want more of a quiet environment where they feel like they can go to bed early or just not be worried, right, about their roommate coming back late at night and all of that. So those are the expectations that we put forth. We do put a lot of, I think, expectations on the two roommates together to set their own expectations of each other and what they want their room to be like. But we also have our RAs who facilitate roommate agreements and can hop in if there are any disagreements to do some mediation. Hopefully that gives a good overview of RISE.
Definitely, thank you. So those are all the questions that I have. Does anyone else have any other questions? Speak now or forever hold your peace until next week.
I would be curious if we can have a poll of how many people have done 10 items on the dashboard. Can we do that in real time? I don't know.
I think so. I think I have to create it really quick.
Oh, sorry, Kelly.
Yeah, no worries. Let me type it up real quick.
I will tell this group, we've had one person complete it. Very exciting. If it doesn't work, it's okay.
There it is.
Okay.
All right.
Oh.
Launch the poll. We are learning how to poll today. Wow, looking good.
Nice job.
Awesome job, everyone.
Yeah.
And all of you voted. You're doing great. And we'll share the results. For just coming out, you're really doing great.
Oh, no, this is great.
All right, here's one good question to end the night. So if we have an issue with one of the forms or an item on the dashboard, who do we contact to sort things out?
Definitely email orientation@gettysburg.edu. You can certainly email any one of us directly. You can look us up on the orientation site and see us as staff members you can email us directly. And the Zooms that will be the open houses, you know, the drop-in office hours. Tomorrow, again, we have one tomorrow from 12 to 3 Eastern Standard Time. And we will have some next week and the weeks that the dashboard is open, we'll have at least 2 days where we'll have a set of office hours, and we'll post those on the, we'll post those to you all so that you are aware. We'll post them in the dashboard, or we'll post them in a push out through social media so that you know that. So those would be the ways. That would be it.
Great. So if you're running into issues, make sure you sign on to Zoom. If we're there, send us an email. I know a lot of you have been emailing me with the registration email, and that's totally cool. Yeah, we are so happy to help all of you. We want you to be able to get through this without any major issues. So unless there are any other questions, I think that's it. Any final words from Keira or Allison?
I would just say, you know, thank you all for joining tonight. This is sort of our debut of doing this, obviously. We're all of us, no matter where you are tonight, we're all trying some new things, right? And so we're excited to see you online. We're certainly excited to meet you, and we're working on a variety of initiatives this summer that we will be able to engage you with. So we're looking forward to that. So just stay tuned to emails, our website, and the different social media platforms so that you can be aware of what's going on, because we want to be getting to know you. So I hope you all have a great night, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
Thanks. See you on Zoom again.
Thanks
Friend
all.
us on social media. Thanks, everyone.